New research suggests that using body mass index, aka BMI, to determine a healthy body weight may not be as accurate as a lot of people think.
For years, BMI, or body mass index, has been used to determine a person's overall health by calculating whether or not they are overweight or obese. Some companies even use their employees' BMIs as a factor in determining healthcare costs. But a new study found that using BMI to gauge health labels more than 54 million Americans unhealthy, even when they are not. Scientists in the study found that over 47% of overweight people and 29% of obese people were considered unhealthy based solely on their BMI. But when compared to other health markers, such as blood pressure and triglyceride levels, they were in fact metabolically healthy. So the real question is, should we still go by BMI? And if not, what's the best way to determine our health?
Finally.
Well, and before we even start the discussion, I think an example is perfect here. Who won the big game this year? The Denver Broncos. Happened to be my favorite team, so whoop, whoop. Not one Denver Broncos player has a normal BMI. They actually all fall into the obese range of 30 or more.
Are you talking about the linemen?
No, because if you've seen football players, they're very muscular, and BMI, all it does is look at your weight and your height. And so, you know, I used to be in the overweight category before I lost, you know, when I was bulkier. And I always thought BMI is flawed because if you're in really good shape and you're muscular, it's going to tell you you're overweight or obese. And this data proves it.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that we finally have the data because it's been tough being a family practitioner. You have women and gentlemen coming in who are exercising and working out, and they're like, well, what should my weight be? Where do I fall? And you're basically telling them, well, I'm sorry, you're overweight according to this chart here. And so I've known, and I think practitioners have known for a really long time, that the BMI is very outdated. It was founded by a mathematician 200 years ago when they were really trying to figure out food rations for the population based off of people who had low muscle mass and high body fat. And so it's really outdated, and the idea that they're using these calculations, the BMI, to discriminate against
that's where the problem is.
Higher premiums for their insurance.
The repercussions of using this as the way to categorize people and put them in a certain group. Well, you're overweight based on your BMI. You have to pay more for insurance.
Yes.
We're not going to cover this, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is a big deal.
Well, there are a lot of things that come into play. For some people, BMI can be effective. You know, just in terms of, obviously, there are individuals where it can give you an idea of how you're doing on your weight loss journey. But, you know, BMI is one thing. You know, body fat percentage, waist circumference. And also the physiologic parameters that we use. There are multiple ways to look at things because, obviously, there are certain numbers out there that just glare at you, like weight. No matter what, people are always going to look at the scale. And so the parameters that we use, I think we need to broaden them. Because if people are just using BMI, then they are, and they're being robbed, say, of certain benefits or being charged more for health insurance. It's a crime, but we need to have other ways to measure it. We can't just say, well, and so I think combining a bunch of different modalities to truly figure it out is the way to go.
Because to really tell somebody, oh, you're healthy, you're great because you're right in here with the BMI, that's not right either. So we've labeled a lot of people as being healthy erroneously, and we've labeled some as being unhealthy erroneously. And so, I mean, the main thing we do when someone comes in our clinics, we eyeball them, and what do we look at? Their waist circumference. You know, like, that's a big thing. BMI doesn't even take that into consideration. So we really need to push to have this redone. The CDC has on their website that BMI is a reliable indicator of body fitness for people. And it's just not.
If you're out there and you're starting a new workout regimen and you're changing the way you eat, there's actually a very good chance, if you're starting to incorporate lifting exercises, even if it's just body weight push-ups, if you notice that the scale isn't changing that much, that may be okay. As your body composition changes, and that's where we're getting at with the BMI. Your body weight could stay the exact same, and your metabolic health could completely change as you increase muscle mass and decrease body fat percentage. And so our obsession with the weight on the scale, it's a problem, and maybe this is our first wake-up call to that. And hey,
that's true.
We'll keep everyone abreast. And if you think that maybe you've been mislabeled, talk to your doc about some of the other measurements that you can do to see if you truly are at an unhealthy weight